Hello and welcome to Kings Meadow. Chelsea in PL2 action this evening against the holders, Manchester City. It's been a blistering start for Chelsea so far. 7-1 winners on the opening day, of course. It stuttered a little bit in the last couple of weeks. Goals and points have been more difficult to come by, but the champions at home, always going to be a good evening. Delighted to say that not only is the Kings Meadow crowd in a compliment tonight as well, but also sat alongside Sam Parkin. Good evening, Sam.
Hi, Joe.
How are you, mate? You good?
Very good. Looking forward to the game, as you said. Top opposition. The players inevitably raise their games for evenings like tonight, so good chance to put down a bit of an early season marker.
Absolutely, and obviously still plenty of points to play for. But let's see how the PL2 table looks at the moment. Some games this evening that will be definitely of interest for Chelsea fans. Crystal Palace currently setting the pace. They played earlier today, 2-1 winners over Wolves. Arsenal, impeccable, 3 out of 3 for them so far, including obviously 3 points against Chelsea a couple of days ago. Spurs and Liverpool play a little bit later on today. Manchester United and Fulham also kicking off at 7 o'clock tonight. Brighton and Arsenal also. So the table could look very different by the end of play tonight. But like you said, Sam, playing Manchester City, even as early as this in the season, it's a nice place to start, isn't it?
Yeah, invariably it brings a performance. Remember these fixtures from the last campaign. It's difficult because Manchester City have got some tough top players. They'll look to dominate the ball. They'll really push you back, the two wide players in particular. So it asks a lot of questions defensively. But I look at the attacking prowess that Chelsea have got, the players that have been recruited recently, along with Harvey Vale, who's been a star at this level for 12 months and maybe a little bit more than that. But Chukwuemeka, Burstow, Hutchinson, all coming into the fray this season. There's got goals and creativity and abundance in this side, you would like to think. So yes, it's a tough challenge, always is against Manchester City. Chelsea have got some very talented young boys at the moment. Absolutely
right, and obviously Thomas Tuchel, I'm sure, will be keeping a keen eye on proceedings this evening. He's been in attendance obviously earlier on against Fulham a couple of weeks back at Kings Meadow, so maybe, you never know, you want to spot him alongside this evening. But yeah, definitely some players to keep an eye on. Obviously Chelsea fans in general will be very excited by some of those names you've already mentioned, especially because we know how good some of these boys are. Already some of these boys have made their Premier League debuts, etc., or Carabao Cup appearances. So I'll tell you what, let's have a little look at the team that Chelsea have put out for this evening. A familiar name in goal, Marcus Bettinelli, obviously a first-team goalkeeper. Dion Rankin, we believe this will be a 3-4-3, we think, Sam. That's usually how Chelsea will line up. So Dion Rankin on the right-hand side, Alfie Gilchrist, Xavier Mbayamba, and Bashir Humphreys captain in the side today. Charlie Webster alongside Carney Chukwuemeka in the central midfield role. Zach Sturge on the left-hand side, and the front three of Harvey Vale, Mason Burstow, and Amari Hutchinson as well. Manchester City, as we know, hugely successful at senior level, under 23s and their under 18 side as well. A few of the boys have stepped up from the under 18s from last year. Josh McNamara in goal, a back four of Juan Larios, Finley Burns, Kane Taylor and Thomas Galvez. Shea Charles captains the side, Dapo Mabede, Kian Brecken, Will Dixon, Oscar Bob and Carlos Borges as well. It's going to be an interesting game this evening, Sam. Obviously, Oscar Bob's probably the biggest name that you're looking at the Manchester City team. He's been at the sort of fringes of first-team football pre-season. He's a very, very talented player. And this is Charlie Webster we're looking at now. Obviously, Charlie is... I mean, how good is this player?
Well, he scored a brilliant goal, didn't he? It was a bright spot in a really poor display at Arsenal, certainly a poor result, so he should be feeling good about things, and with Chukwuemeka alongside him, we think in the engine room that should have a nice bit of balance. And I mean, Chukwuemeka is a top young player, box to box, can go past people. I think he can play in all manner of positions. He can probably play as a number 10, he can probably be the kind of number 4, number 6 if you call it in the modern days, getting on the ball, getting it off the two centre-halves and progressing it up the pitch. So he's got a lot in his armoury. Really fascinated to see how he gets on tonight.
Especially as well because, just obviously taking the knee, which will still be enforced this season, to raise awareness for racial equality and discrimination in all parts of society, especially football at the moment as well. So Chelsea to kick us off this evening. And we're underway. This is where it gets exciting as well, isn't it? Because we've seen Chelsea start very quickly recently in a lofted ball towards, straight away looking for a Dion Rankin on the right-hand side from Charlie Webster. We expect Manchester City to try and play out from the back like they are here, Sam. They're a team that can be pressed and got at, though, as well, can't they?
Yeah, I would imagine that the majority of the work on the training ground, well, a lion's share of it will be about how Chelsea are going to adapt when they haven't got the ball. Do they sit in, which they did during this fixture last season, and allowed Manchester City to have the ball to a degree, to a certain point. And I think the obvious other option is to go quite aggressive and quite high. And I think they've got the legs to do so tonight. They've got very energetic front players. They've obviously got the three up there. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's the latter from the off, and they just try and disrupt City. I think, you know, even at Premier League level, we see some of the less fancied sides in the Premier League on occasions have a little bit of a go, try and disrupt them, and sometimes that's the best form of attack. So we'll see how Chelsea line up and go about things during their shape, really, during their setup in the first 5 minutes or so.
Nice early touch for Marcus Bettinelli, obviously very much a part of the first team picture here at Chelsea, but playing his part in the PL2 this evening. And it's important as well. We see the back three here of Bashir Humphreys, Xavier Mbuyamba and Alfie Gilchrist all very comfortable on the ball. It can be a patient approach from Chelsea at times, and that's important as well, going and stepping up into the first team, isn't it? Very much similar way of playing. Dion Rankin looking for Amari Hutchinson, just can't quite get a toe on that one there, but starting well. You can see definitely Chelsea are looking to play through the lines quite quickly tonight already, Sam.
Yeah, definitely. Not really giving Manchester City an opportunity to get on the ball. Their manager there just in the picture, Brian Barry Murphy, had that spell at Rochdale, which doesn't sound like the most glamorous of places to start your managerial career, but they actually played some beautiful football, hence why he's been kind of cherry-picked to look after the young talent at Manchester City, who are playing very open, expansive football, sometimes to their detriment. Obviously, we know that you can be dispossessed in dangerous areas and you can give up goals. That's the risk and reward playing this type of football, but these young players at Manchester City will be very versed in receiving the ball off the goalkeeper and playing through the third. So it's a good fit, really, in terms of his profile as a manager, and we'll see how they go about things tonight.
Absolutely right. A throw in on this right-hand side for Manchester City, going to be taken by Juan Larios. Similarly to a lot of modern-day fullbacks, very comfortable on the ball. Former Barcelona product again. That seems a very common theme at the moment. Plenty of talent coming out of Barcelona, as is always the case. Slight change, obviously, to the kit numbers. You'll have noticed Charlie Webster wearing number 8 and Carney Chukwuemeka wearing number 6 this evening now, which is a nice thing to remember, especially because we're hoping that between the two of them, Sam, they'll be the difference makers tonight. Yeah,
vitally important. They're probably going to be slightly down in that area, considering Manchester City are playing their usual 4-3-3. So take a little bit of organising, pulling players in. We don't want to get overloaded in that area, but yeah, really looking forward to those two in tandem. Charlie Webster, very technically good player, progresses the ball, and I just think Chukwuemeka is probably going to have a bit more drive, the ability to go beyond people, which Charlie Webster doesn't necessarily have in abundance. Chukwuemeka will provide that.
Here's Harvey Vale on the left-hand side, overlapped by Zach Sturge, new addition in the summer, of course, as well to Harry, the Manchester City player there, but very, very tidily cleared up by Finley Burns, only as far as Charlie Webster, though. Again, recycling that play, which will be very, very pleasing early doors to Mark Robinson. Chukwuemeka dispossessed, but again, you can see the idea already from Chelsea. It's been a positive start, first four and a bit minutes. I think if you're going to pick one of the two managers, Sam, Mark Robinson will probably be the happiest so far.
Yeah, I think just disrupting the opposition, not letting them get their foot on the ball, feel comfortable, stroking it around. This is good.
Dion Rankin on the right-hand side decides to delay the cross a little bit, twists and turns onto his left foot and to his right foot. It's a great cross in. Oof. Just headed over from Harvey Vale, drifting in off that left-hand side. We know how brilliant Harvey Vale is with his feet, but he's definitely added the sort of aerial ability to his game recently, Sam.
Well, that's a brilliant opportunity. It's great play down the right-hand side from Rankin. I think he was fed by Chukwuemeka, and the stand-up is exquisite. Very difficult when you get into that position, I think, to get the right trajectory on the delivery. It's worked all the way across the pitch from the left-hand side. And Harvey Vale will be disappointed. He gets up well, just unable to head it down onto the target. I think actually the Manchester City fullback Lopez was really well positioned just to make sure that it was a difficult chance.
Mason Burstow here, might be half a chance, uses it well, gives it back to Rankin. Overlapping run back to Burstow. Is that a foul in there? I think it is, yeah, given Chelsea's way. Saw your eyes light up there, Sam, when the ball was hung up towards the back post.
Yeah, I mean, that's
one for you, that.
It's an absolute dream, yeah, for a forward player. When they dig out a cross like that, it's easy, I think, when you get to the byline to flash it in or put real pace on the delivery, but just to dig it out and just drop it towards the far post. Yeah, he'll be disappointed, Harvey Vale. That was a good chance, what, 7 or 8 yards out.
Could be the right foot of Charlie Webster, the left foot of Mari Hutchinson stood over it as well. Probably is going to be Webster, but there's an option on the edge of the area for Harvey Vale as well. Not seen a Manchester City player near him. Could be left to Hutchinson, short to Webster, really nicely worked. Well defended though from Manchester City, and they can break here. Vale potentially looked like he was going to take one there, but the break is on. Gilchrist with a little encouragement in the back of Oscar Bob there. Is a free kick to Manchester City on the edge. I think that's a good foul there, Sam, isn't it?
It is, and it's just an indication of the type of pace that they're going to break with if you do commit too many players to the attack. Great stuff from Mabud, and yeah, there was just a little push on Bob just as he released Dixon. It meant that the ball was slightly behind him. Good decision.
Chance here potentially on the left-hand side. Ball heads into the box. It's a deep cross, but it's overseen everyone. Chelsea a little bit got away with that one, Sam, but well defended in the end. You could see numbers getting back, and I suppose that will be pleasing from Chelsea that nothing come of it.
Yeah, want to try and cut off that ball. Gilchrist was really up against it when Borges was played in. That said, I think the little bit of pressure that Gilchrist was allowed to apply, or able to apply, just as Borges released the delivery, was fundamental in that not ending up in a good opportunity for Manchester City.
Well defended there by Mbiamba. And Dion Rankin, we know how quick he is on the counter-attack. Can he get something going here for Chelsea? Amari Hutchinson on the overlap on the right-hand side if he needs him. He does. He slides him in. It's well defended, though. I think it's going to go for a corner. Manchester City claiming it's come off Hutchinson. I think it has, actually, yeah. Right. Nice play, though, Sam. Again, you can see Chelsea definitely posing a threat on the counter-attack like Manchester City. Well,
that was a shame. I thought Rankin, he knew what the pass was, and it was on earlier into Hutchinson. I think it should have gone, and then just allowed the forward player to get one-on-one against his marker. I think once he delayed, they were able to get plenty of sky blue shirts back behind the ball, and the chance was a difficult one for Hutchinson to deliver.
Very high press from Chelsea at the moment, just not allowing Manchester City any time on the ball. Right back to the goalkeeper, McNamara. He's let that run across his body there, very, very nearly an opening goal. But they have played out very, very well. Again, very similar to the Manchester City senior team that we see a lot of those characteristics across the board from the 18s to the 23s to the first team. Like a lot of Premier League teams at the moment, they're working the ball very well down this left-hand side. Oscar Bob, player of the year last year, very, very talented Norwegian attacking midfielder. It's a lovely little back-heeled flick into the feet of Borges. They're working it well here. Chelsea defending very well, though. Brilliantly done by Charlie Webster, and Amari Hutchinson could bring it away. Could be a counter-attack on here. He's not got much with him, Mason Burstow, but he stands up, he holds the ball very, very well. Oof. Sharp intake of breath around Kingsmeadow there when that ball very nearly caught the toe of Amari Hutchinson. Chelsea will be happy with it here, though, Sam, won't they? They'll be happy to see McNamara getting as many touches on the ball as possible, because he's not got many options to play out for him, which means he may have to force something. Yeah, they won't mind that. Oh, that's perfect, actually. Mbiamba coming in and winning that header comfortably. Webster into the feet of Vale, out wide to Rankin, who's already posing a bit of a thorn in the side of Manchester City. Webster back to Rankin. Vale. Great feet from Harvey Vale. Same again from Charlie Webster. That's very unfortunate. Oh, referee gets in the way there. It's a tough job, Sam. It is a tough job.
It's made slightly easier by this change in the rulings, where the ball can just go dead there.
I can imagine in your day there was one or two harsh words towards a referee.
Yeah, probably just alleviates kind of the heart in the mouth type of moments that I'm sure referees have gone through.
Borges down this left-hand side. Well defended by Alfie Gilchrist. That's fantastic.
Let the keeper have it.
So this is interesting because the way that both teams are wanting to play out from the back, and again that happens, I suppose, a lot more in modern football, that there is a style that is sort of bred from a younger age group right the way through. But when you were playing, Sam, is that something that happened, or is that happening more and more in modern football instead?
Yeah, it's more prevalent now. There were times when we would, obviously at this stadium as well, going back 20 years or whatever it was now, there were times when we would play, but obviously there was more of a mixture, I would say, and there was still obviously a market. We've got Mason Burstow tonight, who I'm sure they can hit from deep on occasion, but there was obviously more times where we would go a little bit back to front. But I always say, you know, the Chelsea team that I grew up playing in was a very modern-looking side because of the Glenn Hoddle influence. You know, I was after Glenn Hoddle, but we still played 3-5-2, which was quite unique, I think, in this country. We played with a holding midfield player who was the fulcrum. Everything went through him. 2 wing-backs, and invariably we try and get the 2 players up front. So when people get carried away with the back 3 system now and the overlapping outside centre-halves and so on and so forth, Chelsea were very much at the infancy of that because of the Glenn Hoddle influence, I believe.
Brilliant play there from Zach Sturridge, just to step in, and again talking about playing out from the back, and Chelsea very much allowing Manchester City to sort of have the ball at the goalkeeper and force them to make a decision. It's been an impressive 12 minutes of football. Chelsea probably had the better of it just about, but you know, these are the PL2 holders in Manchester City. There's plenty of talent on the pitch, and it's just very much like the first team again, just a moment of magic that can determine one of these games. It's going to be an interesting one, especially because the players that we predicted pre-game, Sam, would be ones we'd be seeing most of, probably been the quietest so far, which I think both teams will be happy with. Oscar Bob being kept very quiet by Chelsea, and Carney Chukwuemeka being kept quite quiet by Manchester City as well so far. Yeah,
I think it's the Manchester City coach, the staff and players that are having to do a bit of sorting out themselves. They've been asked quite a few questions in terms of Chelsea's setup. There was a shout from the Chelsea technical area a few moments ago to allow the goalkeeper to have the ball. Hudson's just applying a little bit of pressure, but I think they're just going to go very tight on the defensive players so that it's really difficult for McNamara to play into any of them, so therefore forcing him long. And so far, the Chelsea defenders have been able to compress the game and win that first delivery that's come forward from McNamara. So it looks to me like they're being very aggressive, Chelsea, with their setup, and going to pressurise Manchester City when they play out. So a little bit of problem solving for the Manchester City young players at this point, and probably a bit of a conundrum being discussed in the technical area as well.
Rankin as well there just to step in. Charlie Webster on a couple of occasions now looking for that slide through ball to Burstow or Vale or Hutchinson. It is on, it's definitely on, and you think it's only a matter of time before Charlie Webster finds one. It's fantastically stuck in there from Chukwuemeka. Burstow into play with Hutchinson. Here he is, you can see him dictating the play already, Charlie Webster, when he gets on the ball. And Biamba looking wide. Intercepted really well, though. And again, it's kind of in the breakdown, isn't it? Both teams still feeling each other out. Not many gaps in there to play in, but it's been a very good game of football so far.
Yeah, and we've had examples of where Manchester City's real threat is. And yes, they're all very comfortable on the ball, but they just have this electricity in the wide areas. And when they get here, when Chelsea get turned, you've got to be so aware. It's kind of like that Manchester City that had, Sterling and Sane down the sides. It's that type of setup. It's not going to be ridiculously intricate all the way through the opposition's half. I think if they have the opportunity to play in behind, those wide players will be on their bike, and that's what Mark Robinson and his team have to be so aware of. And it does call for, you know, Rankin and Sturridge in particular to have that defensive nous tonight. They have to go back and help out the outside centre-halves. The 2 wide boys are the big danger.
Absolutely right. Chukwuemeka. Been involved in the first team picture as such. I think 1 or 2 eyebrows raised that potentially wasn't in the squad for Leicester tomorrow with a potential injury to N'Golo Kanté and Mateo Kovacic, but certainly getting minutes under the belt tonight will be really important. I know he's impressed a lot of people down at Cobham since arriving from Aston Villa a few weeks ago. That's a lovely ball around the corner, that, and that's exactly the quality we're talking about. Rankin could be away here. He's got options, looking for Hutchinson on the overlap. Does well to hold the ball and keep the move alive. Webster's going to be an option here, I think. Deep cross, just overhit, but again, you can see the idea, and it might be that far post they're looking for on a number of occasions. Potentially Harvey Vale or Burstow peeling off towards the back post, Sam, is a little bit of a game plan.
Yeah, absolutely. Vale is a very good option aerially. Mason Burstow, of course, as well, because of his size. Right on cue there, that was a brilliant bit of play from Chukwuemeka. The obvious ball, I think, was Rankin, and the Manchester City wide player tried to read that pass, and he just played it round the corner, eyes in the back of his head, into one of the forward players. It was a great pass and set Chelsea off on the attack.
And Biamba stepping in. Charlie Webster is set up to hit it. Worth a go. Set up very nicely for him to strike on the volley. We know he's got that in his locker. Absolutely he has.
He'd be disappointed with that, because Charles was 5 yards or so off him, sat up beautifully, and yeah, good sight of goal. Probably should have got that underneath the crossbar and at least worked McNamara.
Manchester City could be stepping on here. Will Dixon dropping a lot deeper than we've seen him in recent Manchester City games. At least he played for the under-18s quite a lot last season. Scored goals whatever level he's played at so far. Break could be on here though. Steps in. Looking for a foot in. Oscar Bob now on the left-hand side. Galvez. Really well pressed from Chelsea. Hutchinson in particular. Galvez has got it again though.
That was a really good example of just how well coached these young players are. Dixon's the centre forward. He's halfway in his own half there, just providing an option, giving Chelsea something to think about and allowing Manchester City to have a spare man to play out. He joined the attack and very nearly got on the end of the build-up play, but you know, that comes on from the training ground, just how intricate it is now to free up someone and play through a press.
Bashir Humphreys has got his hands full here. Borges, ball across to him. Is it Dixon? It's a really good save. It's a good save again. It's not. It's crept in the far post, but the flag is up. Well defended in the end there, because even the tackle that Mbayamba gets in at the end there, is it Maboud on the right-hand side. Can't quite get back onside from an offside position. Bettinelli makes a good save to start with. Maybe a little bit lucky there, Sam, because I think that's a very close offside call when we see it back here. Yeah,
Bashir Humphreys just got done on the far side. It's a brilliant save, you have to say, from Bettinelli. Didn't see it till late. Maboud was quick onto the rebound, and yeah, Chelsea relieved to see the flag was up. And Biamba did his best with that saving challenge, deflected into the corner of the net, but fantastic save from Bettinelli. That one probably would have counted.
It's experience though, isn't it? I suppose that's why he's in the team as well. You give that little bit of experience to a back three that are very good on the ball and want to carry it. If you've got someone like Marcus Bettinelli, who's got, you know, countless appearances in the Football League behind him, and Premier League appearances for Fulham as well, and obviously been a part of the Chelsea first team. Almost a player-coach role as such for him this evening, Sam.
Yeah, he'll be really vocal back there, I'm sure. Valuable game practice for him as well, but it was an excellent save. Sure, he saw it late. It was almost, I thought the ball was past him, and just stuck his left arm out and deflected it away from the target. But yeah, another warning, those wide players, you've just got to deal with the danger. If you allow the ball to bounce, the pace, the aggression that they've got in those positions, they're always going to look to get beyond you.
Here is that save. Yeah, we see Maboud getting in behind there, Bashir Humphreys. He does well to stay on his feet, to be fair, because you've seen players dive into challenge there. Borges knocks it back. Good strike from Dixon. It's a fantastic save down to his left-hand side, Marcus Bettinelli. And even the second one, Mbayamba does really well to get a touch on it, but it's one of those, I think, if he doesn't get a touch on it and he's onside, Bettinelli probably makes a save at the near post. Yeah,
it was a really good strike, actually, from Dixon. It was a nice set, but he didn't have a lot to aim at. Quite hard in those situations to generate such power as well, so it's a nice true strike. Equally good save from Bettinelli, so good football all round.
Good drop here to Hutchinson. He's unlucky there. It's a big towering header from the back there from Bashir Humphreys. You've seen that a number of times. Mbayamba, Gilchrist, or Humphreys stepping in. Bettinelli steps across there really well. Borges thought he got in behind Gilchrist, but he done just about enough, and then the goalkeeper sweeps up nicely.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough night for Gilchrist, but so far so good. I mean, that was a really intelligent run. Inevitably, Borges is going to look for that space on the outside of Gilchrist, but he mixed up his game there changed his run, came infield off the left-hand side. It was almost inch perfect, and just as we were talking about a few moments ago, incredibly bright goalkeeping from Bettinelli to come and just bail out Gilchrist slightly. I thought that was terrific movement.
See again Dixon picking up the ball in a really deep position, but Mbuyamba tracking him all the way into there as well. City want to try and get on with it. Charlie Webster and Harvey Vale there latterly, not allowing them that time. Plenty of time on the ball for McNamara. More touches than he'd have thought in his PL2 debut for this season. Does really well there, Chukwuemeka. That battle between Bob and Chukwuemeka is the one, because Oscar Bob last season, Player of the Year in the EDS, which they call it, Manchester City, the Elite Development Squad. He's really, really talented player, likes to get on the ball, likes to drive. Very similar, I suppose, in the way that Chelsea will be hoping Carney Chukwuemeka would be today, and getting on the ball from deep and driving and making things happen. The two of them between them, nice little battle going on there. Yeah,
it's some really top quality players in that area of the pitch. It'll be his job, Webster and Chukwuemeka, to just try and stop that flow of passes going into the front players in this type of area, just trying to stop that supply line. We've seen just how problematic it can be if the outside centre-halves get turned.
Good feet from Larios on the right-hand side. Left-footed right-back. You don't see that so often anymore, do you, Sam? But I suppose Manchester City have got João Cancelo who do it on the other side for them. But again, very talented footballer, is comfortable on either side, but predominantly left-footed, and you can see that when he cuts inside, he gives another option to Manchester City. Very, very adaptable and versatile side. Even Kane Taylor is playing centre-half for Manchester City tonight. He's more of a central midfielder, but I suppose when you're playing for we see it for Chelsea week in, week out, and you see it for Manchester City here tonight as well. When you're playing at the younger levels, you've got to be versatile and show you can play your part in a number of positions.
Yeah, definitely, and it's just other things for Chelsea to be switched on to. I mean, we've already seen that role of the centre-forward coming incredibly deep, given the flexibility, given the licence really to roam. Probably doesn't have that pressure maybe to score goals, you know, at a consistent basis. It's more about that team ethic and different problems that you present the opponent.
Larios with the overlap now. Manchester City on the ascendancy. Good feet on the right-hand side from Maboud. Could be Larios in here. He's looking for something. Referee's not interested. Don't think Mbuyamba was too concerned the referee would give anything there. Didn't look like much in it. I think he just lost his footing in the end.
Yeah, looked to be good defending from Humphreys. I think he gets himself into a good position. Initially he's drawn out, but gets back in field and just applied enough pressure, I think, to make sure, yeah, he gets back nice and sharp. I'm sure that was a goal kick. Maybe ricocheted off a Chelsea player, but good defending in any case.
Between the two of them, yeah, Humphreys and Mbuyamba definitely seem like they've got it on lock already this evening. But that little turn in there from Oscar Bob, that's exactly what we're talking about, isn't it? That's the one that Chelsea need to be aware of. That moment of brilliance. Chelsea have got it in abundance with your Charlie Webster or Omari Hutchinson, Harvey Vale as well, who's haven't mentioned his name as often as perhaps we'd like. But credit to Manchester City, they're stopping that. But it's that moment of brilliance that Chelsea have got plenty of capable characters of doing that. It only takes that one moment.
Yeah, they started brightly, Chelsea. Manchester City just having their best spell of the half now, I would say. Chelsea could do with getting a chance. That's an opportunity to nick it, but to no avail. But yeah, they're just starting to dominate proceedings a little bit in terms of being in charge of the ball. Not too much on Bettinelli's goal other than the opportunity for Dixon. So no real panic, but I'm sure Mark Robinson's just plotting how they can get back in charge.
Borges up against Rankin. It's been a really nice battle so far. He cuts in field. Good feet. Works half an angle, I think, there, but door was shut by Mbuyamba. Back to Galvez on this left-hand side. Captain Shea Charles. It's good feet from Larios on this right-hand side. Maboud is, again, very tricky into Larios again. Wants to cut onto that left-hand side, left foot even, out to Galvez. Really well defended there from Dion. And again, that's something that I suppose Dion Rankin, you know, we're used to seeing him explosively get up the pitch, but defensively, he's been fantastic tonight.
Yeah, this is where, you know, Chelsea have got to stay really concentrated. There are going to be spells like this where they're going to be trying to prise you open just outside the 18-yard box.
Here is Larios. He wants to cut that left-hand side, and he does. But just why Bettinelli never really worried about that one.
That's where you're pleased, kind of, as a goalkeeper, if there's pressure on the ball. They're, as I said, they're nice and patient. They're just looking for that little gap. You know, in the first team it would be a De Bruyne, or in years gone by a De Silva, who, David Silva, who wouldn't be deterred by seeing that wall of blue.
It's given away by Mbiyamba into Bob. Deflection, good save by Bettinelli, and Gilchrist hooks it away. That's exactly the moment we're talking about, though, isn't it? Chelsea and Manchester City both very high on the press. It's not quite over yet. Larios. It's Bob again. No foul. Referee gives an advantage. He's not going to pull it back either. That's what we're talking about with the high press. That is the danger. And you can see here, it's a fantastic save. It's just caught in Bob. I think it gets a deflection again. It does. A good toe on the ball by Mbiyamba, and a really good right-handed save by Marcus Bettinelli. Larios growing into the game now, looking for the slide pass in behind, and he gets it. Well defended by Mbiyamba, though. Corner ball to Manchester City. Like you said, Sam, they're really growing into the game now. Yeah,
it's a difficult spell. Good wing play again. Mabud on the far side, in behind Sturge. Just got caught a little bit square, watching the ball. Fortunately, the intended cutback is cut out by Mbiyamba. But, yeah, it's a tough 5-10 minutes, this. Just need to weather this, and thankfully the goalkeeper, when he's been called upon, that was another really good save. He didn't commit himself too early, stayed kind of upright, and his flailing arm made sure that he got the contact to push it aside.
Mabud with a corner. Borges offering a short option. It's a deep corner. It's well headed out by Mbiyamba again, though. And now the break could be on here if Omari Hutchinson has got any options with him. Does well, though, to keep hold of the play. Here is Chukwuemeka. Webster keeping the ball. It's intelligent play, isn't it, there? Because I suppose there's the fan within me would be sort of urging them upfield, but if it's not on, Sam, you'd rather keep hold of the ball.
Yeah, especially because Manchester City are having quite a lot of possession right now, so you need to have a little bit of a blow when you're on the ball, a little bit of relax if you can, because if you keep presenting the ball back to them, you're just going to come under more pressure and therefore going to become more fatigued quicker. So, yeah, keeping hold of the ball imperative just for a moment.
Sturge. Oh, he's done really well to wriggle away from the tackle there and win the throw in deep in the Manchester City half. Wants to take it quickly and does. Chukwuemeka. Harvey Vale looking for the ball to Mason Burstow, intercepted though, and he's going to win it back though, Harvey Vale. Good feet from Mabud. He's growing into the game as well, isn't he? And Mbiyamba doesn't want to let him get away here. Could be a chance here. Borges in behind Rankin. Just over the bar. Bettinelli not very happy with the tracking back there, but Chelsea living dangerously at the moment, Sam.
Again, it's cutting off that supply. As soon as the Manchester City midfield player gets turned, they're going to look for that pass in behind, outside centre half. So difficult to defend against once the midfielder's got time on the ball. It's lovely weight on the pass. Unfortunately for Chelsea, that's another great opportunity spurned. Should be in front now, you have to say. Last 5-10 minutes has been 3 presentable opportunities. Borges unable to keep it on the target. Bettinelli relieved to see it go over, but he knows they've got to improve, got to be more resilient in the middle of the pitch.
What a pass that is from Charlie Webster to Zach Sturge. Hutchinson, half a yard into the feet of Webster. Lovely through ball again. Just clipped away, it's not over yet. Chukwuemeka driving into the box on the left-hand side. It's cut across Burstow. Just wide.
Well, it's a bad miss. Chukwuemeka, after Chelsea tried to make a bit of a mess of it, I'd say there. Hutchinson had a good opportunity to let fly, and then Charlie Webster just had to touch and finish. Here, I think Hutchinson could probably shoot. Webster has to shoot there, I think. That's too intricate. Chukwuemeka takes it on himself on the left-hand side of the box and puts it on the plate, really, for Burstow. Should be 1-0 Chelsea.
Fascinating battle in the final third for Manchester City between Borges and Gilchrist starting to develop. Could be a break on here, though. Larios. Mabud and Dixon interchange really well. Good feet. Oscar Bob, he's got Galvez on the overlap, ignores him. Well cleared from Chelsea, and they again, Sam, it's starting to open up a little bit more. Really tactical first 25 minutes, and the last 5 it's started to open up a little bit more.
Yeah, chances at both ends. Neither team's defence looking completely watertight. Here comes City again, but Chelsea able to scramble it clear. But they'd be pleased that they're working chances at the other end. It's not been completely one-way traffic, but Marcus Bettinelli clearly the busier goalkeeper in the last few minutes.
Burstow does really well there, but can't quite keep it in play. Again, really fascinating tussle between him and Kane Taylor. He'll be pleased with his night's work so far. Be unlucky and a little bit unfortunate, I suppose, not to be on the score sheet already, but he's proven a handful up top in his first full season here at Chelsea. Was obviously at Charlton last year and played a lot of football in League One, and again, it's a step up in terms of coming to Chelsea, but you know, he's got plenty of experience already under his belt, Sam, at such a young age, at 19.
Yeah, I saw quite a lot of him last year in Charlton's first team, and he did very well, and was a blow that they didn't have him for the entirety of the season. So yeah, I think, yeah, in terms of his mentality coming into a game like tonight, he'll have that little bit of swagger that he's done it in the league already. A lot of his peers tonight and the opponents probably haven't made their bows in the Football League yet, or racked up the amount of appearances he has. So yeah, he's got that nous, but also that belief probably from playing first-team football.
Webster taken out there, surely. Yeah, it is a free kick in a dangerous position for Chelsea now. Webster straight away grabbing the ball off Mason Burstow. That's mine, I'll have that. Hutchinson, although I think the left foot, maybe it might favour here. Harvey Vale, plenty of options for Chelsea to take this one. Who's your money on here then, Sam?
Probably Hutchinson, the way that he grabbed the ball there. Yeah, just slightly right at the target. I would imagine that's a left-footer's territory.
We've seen Charlie Webster dispatch many of these over the years for the 18s and even the PL2 side. And Hutchinson, like you said, might favour the left foot a little bit. You know, he's got that quality on that left foot. Still looking for his sort of his breakout game for Chelsea. Made his debut. See, the first game of the season wasn't one of the scorers in the 7-1 though. He was well defended. Back to Hutchinson though. Onto his right foot. Deep cross from Harvey Vale towards the back post. Well claimed from McNamara. Chelsea getting bodies in front of the ball very quickly though, and even from an attacking position. Mark Robinson will be pleased with that. The work rate from the Chelsea side in the first half.
Yeah, I think there can be trouble if McNamara can release that quickly. So I'm sure the structure of the team was good, otherwise he probably would have gone a little bit longer. Chelsea must have had a few players around the halfway line, and just that bit of pressure that Hutchinson applied meant that he wasn't secure in the knowledge that he could throw it out short either. So yeah, I think you have to be very switched on even when the Manchester City goalkeeper's got the ball from a situation like that.
Absolutely right. Now the Chelsea goalkeeper, Marcus Bettinelli, on the ball. Just over half an hour gone. Still goalless here at Kingsmeadow. Chukwuemeka into Harvey Vale. What can he produce now? Zach Sturge just creeps out of play on the left-hand side. It's quite a nice evening though in southwest London, Sam. It's beautiful for playing football, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. Yeah, in comparison to the last 24 hours, it was very wet, but yeah, and the temperature's dropped a little bit, hasn't it, from the last month or so. So
it's a good cross in from Webster. Makes a burst though. Can he wriggle away? Half a chance. Harvey Vale 1-0. Harvey Vale scores the opener. Chelsea lead Manchester City 1-0. Brilliant play from Webster on this left-hand side, very quickly into Mason Burstow. Looked like the chance maybe had gone. Ricochets back to Harvey Vale, and that composure.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about it a few minutes ago, it's been very open at both ends. It's not just been chances for Manchester City. Chelsea have been able to carve them open on a few occasions as well. Webster into the danger area. Burstow, I really enjoyed that. That's a beautiful little pirouette under a lot of pressure, good calmness, doesn't quite get his strike away, but Harvey Vale is there to get himself a goal. look, that's an unfortunate ricochet. That's wonderful composure from Burstow. Then the blocked attempt, and Harvey Vale, simple chance for him really when he arrives on his left foot, tucks it away nicely.
That's the quality and the experience we talk about. Harvey Vale, of course, very much a part of the Chelsea first team picture towards the end of last season. Made his debut in the Carabao Cup last year. Thomas Tuchel clearly a big fan, and you can see that experience a little bit more so, and that quality in the final third that we've seen on so many occasions for Chelsea on the course of the FA Youth Cup last year. That goal against Blackpool springs to mind, but he's got that ability, and what a fantastic goal to give Chelsea the lead here this evening.
Yeah, he's a big game player, I would say, Harvey Vale. He kind of talismanic at this level. Here he goes again.
Speak of the man. Well stepped across, half a chance there. Yeah, he really is, isn't he? He's one of the leaders within this squad when you're looking for something special. Yeah,
a few games last year when they were toiling a little bit and in need of a bit of inspiration, and invariably he'd be the one that turns up. So, you know, even if he's a little bit maybe on the periphery of the game, doesn't seem to hinder him too much. I remember early stage of the Youth Cup, was it last year at Watford as well, he got a couple of goals, I think one in extra time. Really, you know, turned a disappointing night, a poor performance, into one that ultimately got them through to the next round. So yeah, another timely goal there, I suppose, considering the way that Manchester City were playing.
Chance on the right, it's a lovely bit of skill there from Dion Rankin. Lovely link-up play with Hutchinson-Gilchrist. The chance not quite over, looking at the far post towards Zach Sturge. Well headed out from Larios, only as far as Charlie Webster nicking there. No, can't quite get there. Manchester City looking to break away, but Webster does step across. Zach Sturge going to recycle the ball on the left-hand side. Into Harvey Vale, could it be two? Well defended from Manchester City, but he has that quality, doesn't he? Every time he gets on the ball, you think something special might happen here.
Yeah, I think Mark Robinson will be frustrated there. Again, not for the first time in this half. That's just got to be touch and get your strike away from Harvey Vale, especially off the back of just scoring a few moments ago. You'd think the confidence would be up. To get a second goal at this stage would give Chelsea a lovely cushion going into half-time, and there's been a few examples of that. Just looking for the perfect goal maybe, or that last bit of intricacy, not required. Touch and work that goalkeeper.
Speaking of goalkeepers, Marcus Bettinelli we just saw there, he's very much the reason that it's Chelsea 1, Manchester City still. Some very important saves before Harvey Vale opening the scoring for Chelsea. Played quickly, Borges in behind for a whipped cross. It could go all the way here, it could to Maboud. He's cut inside, he's stood up, he's done really well, but it's well cleared from Alfie Gilchrist. Steps across fantastically well. Danger maybe not fully over here, maybe it might be up the other end now. Harvey Vale. Very impressed with Zach Sturge towards the second part of this first half, Sam. He's really grown into the game and becoming quite a dangerous influence, and well, in fact an influence at both ends of the pitch.
Yeah, it's a difficult job for them tonight. We know at times Chelsea are going to be in a back five because you get pushed back by the two wide boys of City, but just starting to get his foot on the ball and impose himself in an attacking sense.
Hutchinson driving into the box here. A little dangle of a leg, maybe. I think he's done quite well there, yeah. Defended quite well. Referee not interested at all. Maybe I'm the only one interested in that one, to be fair. Mboyamba steps across. Feels hard done by there. I think there were very few options for Manchester City on the break. It's one of those where it probably is a foul, Sam, but quite frustrating because there's not a huge amount of contact and probably wants the game to play on, but you can see why.
Yeah, and just that probably awareness that Manchester City are breaking quickly over the halfway line. Defenders, the back three, backpedaling, trying to get back into their shape. So they are very dangerous in those situations. So probably, again, not the worst free kick to give away.
It's a stoppage at the moment. Charlie Webster down. We'll have a drinks break at the same time, but very much allow the physios to come on. He's stretching out his lower back. Hopefully that's nothing too serious, because such an important player, and to pick up any knock this early in the season, Sam, far from ideal. Hopefully it's just an impact injury. Yeah,
I'm sure the players aren't too bothered. Opportunity to go and get a drink. It's a fascinating setup, really, because you obviously have the speed of the Manchester City players, the ability on the ball of the technical midfield players as well, but Chelsea have real power in their forward line. A bit of a throwback, Harvey Vale and Mason Burstow. So it's allowing for a really nice dynamic between the two sides, because Manchester City have got their clear threats and Chelsea can go a bit more direct, and when they get it into the final third, they've got real presence. So that's a slightly different to what Manchester City have got. This is, yeah, Sturridge, as you spoke about, Joe, just getting into more forward positions. Didn't really do that in the opening exchanges, and Burstow making an absolute menace of himself. Loved that bit of skill, great presence of mind, and Harvey Vale with a relatively simple finish to give Chelsea the lead. But yeah, it's quite interesting that Chelsea have got these kind of throwback forwards, you know, quite statuesque, muscular figures in the forward line, up against the pace of Manchester City. Equally troublesome, I think, for both defences.
Absolutely right, and like you said there, it allowed Charlie Webster to perhaps go a little bit more direct and find Mason Burstow that brings about the first goal this evening. So you're absolutely right. It gives Chelsea a different option, doesn't it?
Yeah, and Burstow's staying up there, if you like, and Dixon, we've already seen, has got the freedom to go and link the play, almost go into midfield for the majority of this half. Burstow is occupying the two centre-halves, so it's different tactics as well from both coaches, and it's led to a really nice open game with plenty of chances on both goals.
Absolutely right. We've got about 5 or 6 minutes left of this first half, depending on what the referee would like to add on. It's a lovely sweeping ball over the top. If anyone's going to keep that in, it's going to be Dion Rankin, and he very, very nearly does. I think anyone else you'd have waved goodbye with that one, but Rankin is so quick, gives you such an option that even a sort of a half chance becomes 75% chance, shall we say. Be very happy for the half-time whistle to go now if you're Mark Robinson, wouldn't you, Sam? It's been a very much a first half of growth from both teams, grown into it in their own time and their own parts, and then Chelsea perhaps a little bit against the runner play have got the goal, but Zach Sturridge does really well there again. He's having a fantastic evening tonight.
Yeah, he's up against a tricky customer, so again, really good defending. Yeah, just coming back into it, City, I was going to say, with Chelsea in the ascendancy and having 1 or 2 chances, Mark Robertson maybe feeling a little bit greedy and could sense that there's an opportunity for a second just before half-time, but yeah, 1-0 would be a nice way to go in.
Laris has done well there. It's come back to Bob. Safe hands, Marcus Bettinelli. It's half a chance again, though, isn't it? That's one of those that if it falls the other way and if it's a Chelsea chance, you're probably a little bit disappointed that the attacker doesn't manage to at least work the goalkeeper a little bit more there.
He had a bit more time than he realised. I think he could have just taken an extra second to steady himself and then find one of the corners. Bit hasty to get the strike away and therefore didn't connect. Probably didn't have the correct technique to really trouble Bettinelli. It was a comfortable save, that one.
And he's absolutely one of those players that you don't want to give the space to, Oscar Bob. 7 goals and 10 assists in the PL2 last year. He's City's elite development squad player of the season as well. I'm sure a player that many have got a keen eye on from Manchester City persuasion. It's a lovely ball through from Dion Rankin. Hutchinson could be in here. He cuts back onto his left-hand side. It's a deep cross again. Just evades Zach Sturridge at the far post. But that slide pass from Dion Rankin there, Sam, that is exactly the counter-attack that Manchester City have been playing to in the first half as well. Yeah,
brilliant pass. Maybe the pass of the half from a Chelsea perspective. And unfortunately, Hutchinson, maybe the option there was the cutback. Keep it on the deck. There were players arriving. If he could have weighted it nicely, could have been struck first time. I think that's a really good situation. Wasted. The ball going deep and just swung out of play.
Again, he's one of those players. He's magic on the ball, though, isn't he, Amari Hutchinson? He just makes things happen. We've seen, unfortunately, time and time again, whilst he was playing for Arsenal, how much of a menace he can be for opposition teams. I remember a wonder goal he scored against Chelsea at the Emirates. I think it was last season or towards the back end of the season before. He's a phenomenal talent, and I know Chelsea were very, very pleased to be able to welcome him to Cobham this summer, and he's going to be a real player for Chelsea, and especially Chelsea fans to watch this season. He's going to be a lot of fun, I'm sure of it. Mark Robinson looking for a victory tonight. There will be a real statement 3 points as well if you can get it against a team that usually set the pace or set the standard at this level. It's usually one of Chelsea or Manchester City, or the team that you'd expect to be lifting the trophy at the end of the season. It's almost a customary battle every single year now. Chelsea-Manchester City is a real one, but there's a chance here for Breckin. Oh, it's a wonder goal. What a goal that is from Kian Breckin. On the stroke of half-time, Manchester City level it up.
Yeah, possible question marks from the Chelsea players as to whether Chukwuemeka was maybe just infringed in the middle of the pitch. Don't think there was too much there, and again, it's a quick Manchester City attack. Chelsea aren't set, they can't really get back in their shape. It's there's definitely a foot on the ball. They break forward. It was Dixon, wasn't it, the centre forward, dropping in. Bob with the pass into Breckin. I think this probably takes a deflection, maybe off the back of, it's Bashir Humphries, isn't it, coming out, just turns his back somewhat, and I think it just takes a little nick off him and arrows towards that far corner. Bettinelli scrambling, think he does get his hand to it, but can't get it away from the target. Really good strike, and probably deserved on the balance of play, the amount of chances they've created on Marcus Bettinelli's goal. I have to say, going in at 1-1, probably deserved, probably a fair reflection of the game.
Yeah, I think you're right there. It's a really good goal from Breckin, and that moment of quality that we've mentioned numerous times in this first half already, coming from Harvey Vale first of all, and then Breckin to level it up. That's exactly what you get from these two teams. Charlie Webster looking for a chance towards the end of the half. Mason Burstow. All defended by Manchester City again though. Not too long now before the half-time whistle, and like you said, Sam, I think both managers probably, honest reflections, will say 1-1 at half-time is a fair result so far.
Yeah, Chelsea quite fortunate not to concede before getting their noses in front, so yeah, that was probably deserved. But Chelsea, Marcus Bettinelli, they would have thought they'd done enough in this first half. The way that it's played out and the amount of saves he made before Chelsea taking the lead, that they could go in at 1-0 up, but not to be. Have to dust themselves down. Not the best time to concede, but yeah, plenty to like in that first half performance.
Absolutely right. Half-time at Kingsmeadow. Chelsea and Manchester City all square, 1 apiece at half-time. Harvey Vale, the first goal scorer, and then Kian Breckin levelling it up on the stroke of half-time. Both managers with, I'm sure, things to look at, things to discuss. But in all fairness, it's been a good, entertaining first 45 minutes here for Chelsea and Manchester City. And we will continue with coverage this evening after we hear from Thomas Tuchel.
I think we can do the same as always, because I can arrive in the stadium, I think, and be in the changing room for sure. It seems like I cannot be on the sideline, but like I said, we need to wait for the final answer, because we responded to the written, how do you call it?
We responded to
to it, and we are waiting for the answer today. But I think I can be on the not on the sideline as it seems, but in the dressing room in halftime. So yeah, we miss him also as a personality and as his experience and his quality, of course. But like I just said, it's maybe 20 minutes at the moment. It was his first training week without reaction in the knee, so we cannot rush things. Otherwise, we would just sabotage our own plans with him. We need him long term, but it's good to have him back and have him as an option on the bench. We absolutely dislike to lose, and as painful as it is to analyze these things and to look at it again, it's necessary, but we always get a response once the reasons are obvious, the reasons are clear. Still, we are in a period, maybe the last week, where we had a full week to prepare a match. We used it in our opinion as good as possible to get back in shape and to install confidence in what we do. And like I said, these things, we don't like them, but they're maybe sometimes in a process like this necessary to sharpen your vision and to have a clear view on things, where to put the focus, and this is what we did. So now we have to compensate the loss of Kalidou Koulibaly, of course, and of course of N'Golo Kanté, and from there we go. The team, I think, is hopefully well prepared and ready to go for tomorrow.
Thomas Tuchel there speaking ahead of Chelsea's fixture with Leicester in the Premier League tomorrow, of course. Let's have a little look at the first half highlights then from this one at Kingsmeadow. Chelsea 1, Manchester City 1. Started off quite well as well for Chelsea. Chukwuemeka with a driving run in here. Sam, it's one of those, isn't it? A deep cross from Rankin. Harvey Vale in the end will be slightly disappointed not to have done better there.
Yeah, definitely. I thought it was great play from Rankin, who's had some good moments, but yeah, Harvey Vale gets into a brilliant position. I love this from a wide player. Little stand up, real nice technique, and Harvey Vale should probably get that on the target. He's up and above it. It's just his finish lets him down ultimately.
And then this one here, potentially a big moment in the game, in fact, because it's a really good strike from Dixon, but it's a fantastic save from Bettinelli, and then obviously the offside goal that follows up. Yeah,
it was a great strike from Dixon. It's Mabud who's involved in the build-up here, and what he actually does is just switch off momentarily. A more, experienced wide player may have just recognised that he needs to get back onside there, probably been a little harsh, but he comes from an offside position, and obviously Bettinelli relieved to see the flag up.
And this one here, we speak about the dangers of playing out from the back, and very, very nearly the City press catching Chelsea out. Oscar Bob with a chance. It's a big save again from Bettinelli. Played his part massively in the first half. Yeah,
that's probably the one time they've been caught out trying to play out, and Bob gets his strike away. And again, I think that's a really good save. He looks comfortable, but he stayed up as long as he could there and reacted to the deflection.
Manchester City really growing into the game as the first half progressed. Borges in here, and he'll be a bit disappointed with that one, because you think when he's through on goal there, one-on-one with the goalkeeper, gets the right side of Rankin for the only time in the first half, really. Probably should do a little bit better there for you, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a little bit of complacency maybe in front of goal. I don't know if he's trying to lift that into the roof of the net, but just slip that into one of the corners, and Manchester City would have had their nose in front. It's a real let-off.
And this is where Charlie Webster and Murray Hutchinson very nearly combined. Chukwuemeka with a driving run in there as well, and Burstow. I think maybe is it Zach Sturge in front of him there that he thinks might get there first, and then it comes at him a little bit too quickly.
Yeah, possibly. That's probably Chukwuemeka's best moment in the half, I would say. That's what I want to see him doing, breaking beyond people. And you're right, Sturge just dangles his left leg, and Burstow can't sort his feet out ultimately to turn it into the unguarded net.
Then eventually the deadlock was broken. Charlie Webster going a little bit more direct into Mason Burstow, and then Sam Parkin-esque, this one, isn't it? Rolls away and gets Harvey Vale on the follow.
I don't know about that, but no, I did enjoy it from Burstow, because that's where you need to show your composure when there's bodies all around you, people flying into challenges. Lovely little pirouette, and he gets a bit of good fortune, but you deserve that, and Harvey Vale sticks it away nicely.
Absolutely right. When you're looking the big games, the big players that step up, and Harvey Vale certainly doing that with giving Chelsea the lead. About 10 minutes to go until half-time. We thought Chelsea would have seen it through, and unfortunately right on the brink of half-time, Manchester City do strike back. One of their talismans in Oscar Bob giving the ball into Kian Breckin. It's a really good strike in the end into the top left-hand corner.
Yeah, because they had good possession there, Chelsea. I think if you look at the position of the two midfield players, they're just out of their shape because they're tiptoeing forward. They're thinking there may be an opportunity on for Chelsea, and look at the space that Breckin's got, but he recognises that, and he makes his mind up quickly that he's going to be shooting, and it's a really good strike, you have to say. Bit of good fortune that it takes a deflection, but you can't argue that Manchester City don't deserve to get a goal for what they've shown in that first half.
Absolutely right. Yeah, it does feel like one of those games where those moments of brilliance are going to be ever so much more important, and we will find out a little bit more how the second half goes. But first, let's have a little catch up with how the Chelsea women's team are doing over in the USA with their highlights against Portland in the week.
Buchanan has just taken her eye off that ball, and Bedford with the shot, pulled away by Ann-Katrin Berger, and Chelsea's new centre-back will be very relieved there, Kadisha Buchanan. You could see the head go up before she had control. Corner is a deep one, and looping towards the far post. That was in, but for Ev Perisset. Chelsea's new full-back saves a certain goal here because Berger was beaten. Lovely little turn around the corner from Kerr towards Pernille Harder. Wrighton following up, and Wrighton scoring! Chelsea in front with half an hour to go. Guro Wrighton. Well, she followed her pass, and so often that brings joy, and it does here for the Blues. Perisic with time to cross, deep and testing. Great effort. So unlucky, Sam Kerr. Portland stay in the game thanks to their crossbar here. Maybe a touch on the way through. There was from Bixby, and a crucial one. Trouble here. Chance. Brilliant stop from Berger. Danger's not over yet, as Sinclair puts it straight at the German. What an opportunity for the leveller there for Smith off the bench. Job done, that'll do it. And after the shootout defeat to Lyon, it's a win for the Blues against the host Portland. 1-0 the final score.
Really good win for Chelsea over in their US tour. And Sam, obviously a big game on Sunday. It's only a friendly, but is it ever a friendly when they're playing Tottenham?
Probably not, no. And the memory will still be quite strong of the victory that Chelsea had tail end of last season, which was pivotal in getting a WSL title. So, and I know Drew Spencer's moved over to Tottenham as well last season. So, yeah, never a friendly. But yeah, the bigger picture is integrating the new players. Really good, high pedigree new players that Emma Hayes has been able to bring to the club in the summer. So a little bit of change, but I'm sure going to be fighting on all fronts again this campaign.
Absolutely right. Like you mentioned, a number of high-profile new signs, including Kadisha Buchanan, obviously Champions League winner. And I had the chance of speaking to her at the start of the summer when she signed, and very much on the radar is Chelsea winning a lot this year, and that's exciting, especially because we start the season, of course, the WSL season, that is against West Ham at Stamford Bridge a week Sunday. So it's going to come round very, very quickly. And when that starts, Sam, back to business, isn't it, really? Tickets still available, by the way. If you haven't got your tickets to come down to Stamford Bridge and watch that next Sunday, it's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere, I'm sure of it. I know there's quite a lot of special things planned as well, and hopefully a special game to kick off the season. Yeah, and there'll be, you know, children that have watched the tournament in the summer that are going to be looking forward to coming and seeing Fran Kirby and Millie Bright in particular. You know, the women that played for other nations as well. It's a new era, isn't it? And having the fixtures at the first team stadiums is going to be huge this season, so hopefully we'll get good turnouts. Really will be, yeah, very much looking forward to it. And obviously Kingsmeadow, the home of Emma Hayes' side, and usually a sellout crowd in attendance. Looking forward to plenty of that coming in the next couple of weeks. And obviously Thomas Tuchel's side, Sam, playing Leicester in the Premier League tomorrow. It's been a difficult start for Leicester, especially in the Premier League, but Chelsea as well, looking for a reaction after disappointing results against Leeds last weekend. Yeah, it's become a big game, hasn't it? Probably because of the last 7 days or what have you, but we should be safe in the knowledge that when there's question marks being asked, you know, Chelsea invariably deliver. And you think about that Tottenham performance, I thought it was electric. Yes, it ultimately ended in disappointment, but the nucleus of that performance was sensational. So the Chelsea fans will be wanting something similar tomorrow, and there's various selection dilemmas, so I think that's going to be fascinating as well. You know, Koulibaly's going to be missing, who's going to shape up in the midfield. That left-hand side's going to be intriguing as well, so there's going to be a number of interesting talking points when the team sheet's announced tomorrow. But what we do know is Chelsea have an abundance of quality, and they're coming up against a team, whatever you say about Chelsea right now, the difficulties in the wake of that defeat at Leeds, Leicester have had big problems start of this season, so expectation will be to win that game, and hopefully they will. Absolutely right. It's going to be one of those games, isn't it? Because like you've already mentioned there, the selection headaches for Thomas Tuchel. N'Golo Kanté, we know, is definitely going to miss the game. He's injured. And Mateo Kovacic, Thomas Tuchel said in his pre-match press conference earlier on today that Kova's got about 20 minutes in him. So you'd imagine that will be Conor Gallagher again alongside Jorginho, and been very impressed with Conor since he's come back. Very impressive last season at Crystal Palace, of course, and an opportunity to sort of cement a starting berth before players get back. And if you're in possession of the shirt, Sam, I suppose that's the only thing you can ask. Yeah, and it's such a shame because Conte's performance against Tottenham was as good as he's been for a while. You know, kind of vintage performance from him. And Kovacic was amazing at times last year, kind of undervalued really, not at this club, but probably you know, not underrated, you know, probably across the board. So he had some phenomenal games last season. So those two are big misses right now. And Conor Gallagher has got brilliant characteristics as a midfield player, but this is a slightly new position for him as well, so it may take a little bit of time.
but he's a brilliant young player. He's got an abundance of talent, real belief as well, and he's got the experience. So, you know, given an opportunity in the Premier League at Stamford Bridge, I'm sure he'll grow because he'll have that support. The fans love one of their own. They love Reece James and Mason Mount and what they've provided. And Conor Gallagher has the ability to be another one of these guys, no question.
There is a little bit of that, isn't there? You know, that's why we're so intrigued to see the academy sides do so well, because it's the next generation, it's the next new Chelsea hero, and like you've already mentioned there with Mason Mount and Reece James and Fikayo Tomori, Tammy Abraham, Callum Hudson-Odoi, players that won the Champions League. It feels like only yesterday that we were seeing them on this exact stage on a Friday evening playing in the PL2 and the predecessors to that tournament. But of course, Mark Robinson has now got that selection headache with some players that potentially, Charlie Webster, Carney Chukwuemeka especially, if we are having a central midfield problem with injuries in the first team, perhaps this is an opportunity for one of these two to say, Gaffer, look no further. If you need an opportunity, if you need someone to fill in, I'm ready.
Yeah, in the last 2 or 3 years has been, you know, fantastic to see. It's one of the best products that's been produced over the last, what, 50 years?
If you're going to get any information on a Friday night to implement a game and stamp your mark, it's certainly John Terry walking across alongside Mark Robinson there. And he was at Cobham yesterday, I saw, with, I think it was with John Harley, wasn't he, a friend of yours?
Yeah, I mean, both players that I came through the system with, and yeah, John's the perfect person to talk to on a night like tonight, because this is where he earned his stripes, essentially. You know, he played in this team, or the reserve team as it was then, at Kingstonian, at Kings Meadow, for a season or two, and was a shining light. So these are the nights, really. You know, John Terry will relay, I'm sure, the information. I'm sure there's members of the first team squad, first team technical staff that are there tonight, and this is where you get noticed, and this is where, if you put in a performance, the opportunities to step across to the first team pitch at training level will come more frequently. It's not by fluke. That's what John Terry did, and that essence, that formula doesn't change over time just because the facilities are better and the finances are richer, etc. It's the same game ultimately for these young boys. Impress tonight, and you'll get a chance to move over to the first team in time.
Now, underway for the second half. Chelsea 1, Manchester City 1 in the PL2. Got myself, Joe Flemons, and Sam Parkin commentating on how things unfold at Kings Meadow. It's been an interesting first half. Hopefully more of the same in the second, because very well contested fixture between two of the sides that you'd expect to be setting the pace towards the tail end of the season, especially. Marcus Bettinelli with an early goal kick again. John Terry in attendance, I suppose. If you're one of the three centre-halves as well, Sam, it's a big person to impress, and if you come off the pitch at full time and JT's giving you a slap on the back, that's a very good night's work.
100%. And again, when you're playing in a fixture like this, you are fully aware who's there from the club. Believe you me, you know, when I was coming through and playing in this type of matches, you know when the first team manager's there, you know when the first team assistant manager is there, you know when there's big personalities from the club casting their eye across, and of course you want to impress. That will give the lads the ammunition tonight, the motivation. Not that should be down anyway, but they will have that in abundance because of the attendance of someone like John Terry. So yeah, I'm sure the centre-halves will be eager to do well, and they'll probably get really good feedback tonight as well, which is a real positive for the young players.
Completely right, and you never know who's in attendance, do you? Especially when Chelsea are at home, 3 o'clock at Stamford Bridge tomorrow. You never know who's going to be there. You know, we see it quite a lot with especially the younger players that have made this step, Reece James and Mason Mount, and players of that ilk that often make the trip across to Kingsmeadow to watch a bit of football on a Friday night. Thomas Tuchel's been in attendance before as well. He's another one. So it'll be an interesting one, and certainly plenty to play for in the second half. Not just PL2 points, but a little bit more as well. Mason Burstow not letting it go there, and it's quite a good foul in there as well, isn't it? Especially, you know, that tenacity from a centre forward. If you're a manager, that's exactly what you want to see from your centre forward early in the second half, is pressing and not giving an easy ride. And he certainly didn't do that in the first half. No,
he's been a good focal point for the team. Like I said, Dixon for Manchester City is a different type of forward, but Mason Burstow is one who's going to play right up against their two centre-halves. He's going to be physical, he's going to back in. He's also got a decent turn of pace for someone so big. So, he's got a lot of good attributes, and he's put himself back in the first half, and ultimately it was his good little bit of play that forced the goal.
Well defended from Bashir Humphries there. Didn't allow Manchester City to get in behind, and that communication between him and Marcus Bettinelli, you can clearly see, has been working really well tonight. It must be quite difficult as well, Sam, when you've got a player that's in and around the first team. Carney Chukwuemeka the same as well, to then come into the... It could be a chance here. We'll talk about that in a second, but it's Breckin in again. It's a good save from Marcus Bettinelli. Breckin will be disappointed he doesn't do better there and double his tally for this evening, but Bettinelli keeping Chelsea on level terms.
Yeah, a couple of times now Chelsea playing their way into difficulties. Breckin just almost telegraphed that he was going to go into that corner. Bettinelli reads it well. Had it gone the other way, would have been a certain goal.
Could be a chance still here. Oh, fantastic finish. Manchester City do take the lead, and it is Oscar Bob, a player we've mentioned a few times this evening. Real starlet in this Manchester City side. It's a fantastic finish on his left foot. And City take a 2-1 lead here at Kingsmeadow. Disappointing start to the first half, the second half for Chelsea, Sam.
Yeah, a couple of chances in quick succession. That's a fantastic strike when it comes to generate that type of power. This is the type of build-up, the type of move that they've tried to produce throughout the evening. It's Breckin with a lovely ball around the corner, and it's a lovely little body swerve. You know, moving at such pace there to be able to change direction, to get it onto his stronger left side, and it absolutely flashes past Bettinelli. We're going to get a good example of it here. The pace, you can't get your arm up there. You know, it's a brilliant finish, generating great power. Great strike.
It's a really good goal, isn't it? Because like you said there, it gives the goalkeeper no chance. He doesn't even get the ball sort of half a yard out of his feet, so there's not an opportunity to get a foot in. If Rankin even sticks a toe out with the first sort of challenge, then it's clearly a penalty. So it's just a really good finish from Oscar Bob, a really good goal, and Manchester City do take a 2-1 lead here at Kingsmeadow. Plenty of football still to play, though. I think that ball had gone out there. Zach Sturge not allowing it to, though, and he's continuing it. Could be half a chance for Chelsea. Clip ball in. Chukwuemeka, can he get there? No. Well defended and cleared by Manchester City. Larios. Brilliant tackle from Bashir Humphries. Really, really good tackle.
Yeah, that was a really fascinating angle there, because on the goal, the second replay, because you'd feel from that type of position that the goalkeeper would always be favourite, but because there's a defender who he shifted it away from and got the strike away so quickly, you see Bettinelli gets his hand up pretty much as quickly as he could, but the velocity in the venom, in the strike is such that there's no chance from that type of distance that you're going to be able to save it. It's a really talented finish.
We said about him being a danger man tonight, Oscar Bob, and like we said with Harvey Vale, the fact that you don't hear his name is usually a good thing, but it also means that at any point he can have an impact on proceedings, and he's done exactly that. But Chelsea have got plenty of time. There'll be no panic from Mark Robinson's side. It's a game that's still there for them. It's a switch of play from Amari Hutchinson over to Zach Sturge over here. Be looking to build on a terrific first half, and very, very impressive since his summer arrival from Brighton. Sam, he looks a real player, a player that can play in the back three or left back if Chelsea are playing a four, or doing a very good job at left wing back tonight.
Yeah, he's had a decent game. Been asked a lot of questions by his opponents, but here he comes now, bombing up the left-hand side if he's fed.
He's got the ball now here. That'd be perfect timing, wouldn't it? He cuts inside. Still in control of the ball. He could potentially have gone down there. Didn't want to. Far too honest. I think it will go out for a goal kick in the end, but it's one of those. I think he's done really well to stay on his feet there. I think we've seen plenty of opportunities in previous sort of positions like that where they don't act as honest as that one, Sam. Maybe he's a little bit too honest for his own good there. I think maybe he could have got something.
Yeah, just ran out of pitch in the end. It was Larios, his marker, tracked him all the way to the byline. Pass possibly could have come a little bit earlier from Harvey Vale, I think it was, who played him in ultimately, but yeah, just about to, just able to defend it, Manchester City.
It's a really, really good tussle over that left-hand side by Borges and Gilchrist, giving each other a moment's peace. That's the experience, isn't it, of Bettinelli, just to calm things down a little bit and make sure that Chelsea can get their foot on the ball and build again. And Rankin, always an option, linking up on this right-hand side with Charlie Webster. Dummies the cross. Webster again. Good feet. Well defended from Manchester City again, though. Like you said in the first half, Sam, you can see the way that Chelsea are wanting to play. You can really already see an identity and a style behind Mark Robinson that they're going to work really hard. And even there, a definitive example of that from Bashir Humphries stepping across and winning the ball back.
Yeah, another opportunity for Manchester City down the left-hand side. Dixon nearly played in. As you said, Bashir Humphries came over and just about did enough to repel that danger. Slightly unorthodox challenge there from Borges, I think it was, on the left-hand side. Maybe just lost his footing. Quick word from the referee, but I don't think it was malicious.
Long looking for Burstow. Just going to take the throw in quickly to Rankin. Want to get things going for Chelsea and try and strike back fairly early in this second half. Hutchinson starting to get on the ball a little bit more, which will please Chelsea fans in attendance. Unfortunately, not able to create anything there, but the fact you're hearing his name more and more, Sam, is a good sign.
Yeah, possibly could have got turned there when he was played in. Just actually turned back towards the far touchline. Could have driven into the 18-yard box once he received it. Plenty for Mark Robinson to ponder, but I think Bill be reasonably happy with elements of the performance, but not really started the second half, not posing as much as an attacking threat as they did throughout that first half. Despite, you know, Manchester City's supremacy maybe in terms of chances, Chelsea still able to have quite a few attempts on the Manchester City goal. They've not really materialised at the start of this second period.
It's like delaying proceedings there. We've not got the multi-ball in action as we do in the Premier League, I don't think. Not quite yet anyway, or perhaps there was, and it was just giving yourself a breather a little bit from Manchester City, but Larios going to get the game restarted here. It's a big header from Mbayamba, and well contested. Rankin taking no opportunity, or no chances there, should I say. A heavy landing for Harvey Vale, but he seems all right. Finley Burns has gone down with a knock there, which will be a concern for Manchester City. We've already seen Luke Mabiti, who usually plays as centre half. He played his part in the first team friendly with Barcelona in the week and got quite a nasty head injury towards the end of the game. So Kane Taylor stepping in alongside Burns tonight. He seems to be all right, but we want to keep an eye on because got Max Alenia on the bench, who's not made his PL2 bow just yet, but from all accounts, a very talented centre-half in his own right. Full-blooded challenge there, but Webster bustling his way through, and Burstow, legs are clipped, referees not interested, and Manchester City going to turn out the other end now. Here is Breckin, the goal scorer of the first one for Manchester City. Slides into Maboud. It's a good save, really good save from Marcus Bettinelli. Stands up well to that one, Sam. It's a good save, and it's one you'd expect Bettinelli, a player of his quality, to make.
Yeah, the gap's just opening up a little bit in transition. Breckin in the same position as to which he got his goal in the first half. Just fed down the middle of the pitch. Maboud in the end it is with the opportunity, but look at the space. Pockets of space just opening up for Manchester City players. Good awareness. Shifting it to the right. Bashir Humphries does his best to get across, but Bettinelli comfortable down to his left.
Saw this corner routine in the first half. Potential short one on for Borges, but they have worked it short. Bob and Maboud interchanging passes on this right-hand side. He's got the ball, he cuts inside there, and Breckin now. Bashir Humphries does exceptionally well there to read the fact that he wanted to run around him and just did not let him. Break could be on now.
Squeeze Finn. Squeeze Finn. Get our shape in. Get your shape, Oscar.
You can hear the managers barking orders from the touchline, and it's quite a treat to hear that. We don't get the pleasure of hearing that in Premier League games, Sam, but it's always intriguing. Probably the only good thing that came out of having games behind closed doors was the fact that you could hear managers' instructions, and especially sort of students of the game as we are, to learn a little bit more about it. It's a lovely slid pass, though. Could be a chance here for Manchester City. Actually, Havertz does well.
It feels like an important period of the game, this. I think if Chelsea were to concede that third, this is going to be, you know, a very difficult last half an hour to try and salvage something from the game. So just need to weather this storm. Probably need the manager to adjust one or two things, which I'm sure he's doing. Probably comes from changes in personnel as well, fresher legs. That's the type of conversations that will be going on down in the technical area now, this stage of the season as well. Players will be a little bit short on match fitness. They're not, you know, played 5 or 6 games yet where you're really into a groove, so they'll need to freshen things up.
It's a lovely flick from Hutchinson, and Webster now using Rankin on this right-hand side. Chelsea counter-attack could be on. Webster again, he's going to hang out towards the back post. Sturge can't quite keep that in. Bale makes the finish look easy, but unfortunately the ball has gone out of play.
Yeah, it was a shame. Just overdid it a fraction on the right-hand side. But yeah, slightly better from Chelsea because they've not been able to create too much this far in the second half.
You mentioned there are potentially options on the bench for Chelsea. We're just seeing that Rankin cross here, which you said, unfortunately, back to Webster, I should say, sorry, with the cross towards the far post, just a little bit too much on it. There are options from the bench for both teams tonight. Chelsea especially, you know, you're looking at Leo Castledine, who's an option. We have seen a change for Manchester City, which we'll get to when the ball breaks down here. Yeah, plenty of options on the bench for Chelsea tonight, including Leo Castledine, a player that you know quite a lot about, Sam.
Yeah,
could be a chance here. Chukwuemeka, just over the bar. Carney Chukwuemeka it's a good opening for him though, and again that's the sort of area you want to see the new signing in, don't you? On the edge of the box and being able to get a shot off a goal. Yeah,
it's a good little ball from, it's a third man run actually, nice play from Hudson, Vale, good awareness, and that's a really presentable chance actually. Maybe just starting to feel the pace of the game. Chukwuemeka, I imagine he's a little bit behind fitness-wise, gets himself into a great position, and I expect them to be, you know, flying into the corners in the weeks ahead. Maybe just a little bit too early for him. Probably feeling a little heavy leg now, but yeah, Castledine, effervescent type of player, very hard-working, makes things happen, chases lost causes. So I can play on all manner of positions, so definitely an option for Mark Robinson when they're looking to try and find a goal. And yeah, already he's a better player than his dad was. I think I'm allowed to say that, he's a mate of mine.
That obviously made a number of Premier League appearances. I'm sure if Leo has half the career, he'll be very happy. It's a wonderful ball across from Harvey Vale, just evades Hutchinson. The chance isn't over though. Rankin going to reuse it from the right-hand side. Vale with a header. Is it going to go out for a corner? I think it is, yeah. Chelsea corner.
They just didn't quite get contact on the subsequent header. That's a brilliant ball. It's just a little bit behind it. Hutchinson was the nearest Chelsea player, and when it's recycled, Harvey Vale in a good position. Yeah, it's good defending actually from the full-back. Larios just applying the pressure.
In-swinging corner to be taken on this right-hand side. It's a deep cross from Hutchinson looking for Mbuyamba. It's come out to Vale. Can't quite get a hit on it. Bashir Humphries can. Half a chance, but makes the keeper work there, Sam. He makes good contact on the end. He kind of has to come across it, doesn't he, a little bit, because there's so many bodies in front of him.
Yeah, that was a bit of a mess, wasn't it, from Harvey Vale? And yeah, he managed to keep it on the target. He didn't catch it particularly true, but it was a decent enough save.
Chance here for Manchester City right at the other end, quickly breaking with Borges. Cuts inside past Rankin. Cleared, but Mbuyamba taking no chances tonight, and I think that one might drop in the river. So when do you think it will be a thought process for Mark Robinson? Chelsea growing back into the game the last 10 minutes or so. When is the perfect time as a player to feel a change coming?
I think you touched on it there. It's the sway of the game, isn't it? It's possibly when you've lost a bit of momentum. If the team's in the ascendancy, invariably you'd be inclined to just leave it and let that spell play out. So probably slightly in control at the moment. Feels like there may be a chance in the offing. And also it's that dialogue with the players, the ones that you've maybe earmarked to only play a certain amount of time. It's having those frequent conversations, regular dialogue to see how they're feeling, make sure that nobody's at risk of injury. So kind of two-pronged. You don't want to disrupt a good period for the team, but it's also being aware that some players are probably a little bit behind. Here we go.
Here does come the first change. Lewis Hall coming on for Carney Chukwuemeka. Just over an hour gone. And Will Dixon making way for Josh Adam for Manchester City. He's very much in the Pat Nevin mould, in fact, Josh Adam for Manchester City, Sam. He's a sort of diminutive attacking player that wants to drop into pockets and make things happen. And obviously we know plenty about Lewis Hall. Made his Chelsea first-team bow last year under Thomas Tuchel in the FA Cup and can play in a number of positions. We think he's going to slot into the centre of midfield here tonight, but played on the left a couple of times and played in the back three, I think, for Chelsea in the first team in the FA Cup last season.
Yeah, incredibly versatile player. I think it probably took everyone by surprise a little bit last year. The ascendancy, how quick it was, and obviously when he got his opportunity, he did brilliantly. Subsequently, obviously not played too many minutes, but with the first team group that is. But he had a terrific season last year, and it's going to be a big part of this team's chances this season.
Number of players that really made the most of last season. You know, he's still only 17 years of age, and you know he's one of those players that last season played in the under-18s, then played in the PL2 and the 23s, and then made his first team bow as well. That's sort of a huge season for him, and very excited to see what he does come up with this season, because like you've already mentioned there, he's an excellently technical player, a very versatile player as well, and obviously a player that Thomas Tuchel's impressed with enough to involve in the first team squad.
Yeah, I think, you know, gives him different options down the left-hand side. Obviously very nice left foot, but we saw he could play left-sided centre-half as well, left wing-back, centre of midfield. I think was the position that he started off in, so he's very comfortable in the middle of the pitch, but having such a sweet left foot obviously lends itself to playing on that flank. Poor challenge there, actually, on Bob from Rankin.
First yellow card of the evening does go to Dion Rankin. It's a dangerous position for Manchester City to have a free kick, though. Plenty of bodies up from the back, especially the taller Finley Burns looking to join the attack and get amongst it tonight. Shea Charles as well there, creeping in towards the back post. All the way across. Shouts for handball from Manchester City. Referee's not interested.
Well done, Larry. Well done. Wow. Well done. Wow.
Hey, it's stone cold.
The Manchester City bench are unimpressed with the decision that's gone against them this evening, but referee and linesman not interested in handball. Let's have a little look at that here against Harvey Vale. He's very close, isn't he, Sam? He's very close.
Yeah, it's a big appeal, isn't it? I mean, it's that conversation as to whether the arms are in an unnatural position, but I mean, when it's smashed towards you from that type of distance, it ricocheted off the floor there as well. I don't want to see them given as penalties. That's just my point of view, that's my opinion, but unfortunately sometimes in the Premier League now that probably would be awarded just because of where Harvey Vale's arms are.
It's difficult, isn't it, because it's not something that you consciously do, is it? Your body's in a natural position, even when they say your arm's in an unnatural position. It's a tough one that you're never going to find the correct balance between, and thankfully that's not gone against Chelsea this season. But like you say, in the Premier League with VAR, you never know. Lewis Hall stepping in here, wonderful left foot, we know that. Just wide. Harvey Vale's on a hat-trick, by the way. He's found the net 3 times tonight. Only one's counted so far, but that's what Lewis Hall brings you, doesn't he?
Yeah, brilliant stuff, driving into that space, similar to Breckin. The job he's done for Manchester City. Lovely little sidestep there. Good sight of goal. Just tries to reverse it into the near post. Bit of disguise on the strike and doesn't quite get enough power on it. But good first bit of involvement from Lewis Hall. Yeah, I mean, the unnatural arm position is something that just really irritates me, because you're playing football. There isn't a natural arm position. You're always off balance. You're always being ushered around by an opponent. So it's something I just don't really get. It's it must be incredibly hard to judge. You know, handball in years gone by was when someone did it deliberately.
Completely right. Hutchinson, counter-attack for Chelsea. Harvey Vale with half a sight, and he drags it across goal. It's a good attempt. It's almost evaded the far post, but only just. It's a really nice half chance for Harvey Vale, and again, that's what we see, the quality from Hutchinson and Vale, the link up between the two of them. You'd imagine, Sam, if that's on his right foot, he's probably hitting the far stick.
Well, it's getting stretched now, the game. Hutchinson weights it nicely into Harvey Vale. I think he just has to allow that to go another yard to his left-hand side and then go for pace. To try and steer it towards the far post was probably the harder option there. I understand why he did it, because you get a little bit more security, you can get a little bit more direction on the ball, but I thought he could have just thumped that left-footed. Sometimes your finish, believe it or not, is kind of dictated by your physical state at that stage of the game, and maybe just as he begins to fatigue, he wanted to have the assurance of going with the side foot.
Substitution for Chelsea, Mason Burstow. His night's work is finished, and I think he'll be very pleased on a personal level, because he's played really well for Mike Robinson's side tonight. He comes off to be replaced by Jaden Wareham, who is a player that Chelsea in the PL2 have relied upon quite a lot. He scored 2 goals off the bench in the first game of the season, pretty much an ever-present last year, and very much in the similar sort of pressing forward mould, and worked tirelessly at the top end of the pitch for Chelsea. So it's definitely an option, and a player that we know can score goals from the bench already this season, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, he's a different type of player. Short, sharp movement down the side of centre-halves, instinctive finisher, real eye for a goal. Obviously, nowhere near the physical presence that Mason Burstow is, but I think a very good substitute. There was a period where Brian Fearbema was coming on and scoring goals at will. Similar type, I would say, quite single-minded in that they want to get in beyond and get opportunities on the opponent's goal. So hopefully a chance may fall his way, because you'd back him in front of goal.
Absolutely right. A number of gifted goal scorers at this level as well for Chelsea. Obviously, you mentioned Fearbema there, whose loan is expired fairly recently, so he may be back involved in the team in the not too distant future. And Jaden Wareham, and obviously Mason Burstow, and Jude Soonsup-Bell as well, of course, we saw make the step up to PL2 last season. So there's plenty of options for Chelsea across this season. Wareham's opportunity coming tonight. 20 minutes to go. Chelsea in search of a goal, and he's definitely a very willing participant and a great option to bring on. Brilliantly stepped across there by Bashir Humphries. Chelsea are dealing with Manchester City's probing, aren't they, to an extent, but it will be at the other end of the pitch that Chelsea want to start implementing a little bit more of a game plan, I'd imagine.
Yeah, they're not going for the jugular, are they, Manchester City? They're kind of just managing the game right now, which means that...
Looking for a points decision, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, Chelsea have started to make opportunities in the last 5 minutes, so I wouldn't feel particularly comfortable if I was of a Manchester City persuasion. You feel like they can lift it at any stage, that said.
Charlie Webster into... Oh, it's a really good effort from Jaden Wareham. Comes off the chest, I think, of Manchester City. I think it's a chest anyway. Not too many appeals from the Chelsea dugout, so I think it was an innocent one, but again, those opportunities are starting to fall in his space for Hutchinson, looking for a cross in. Oh, it's a wonderful strike there from Wareham, and that's exactly what he brings, isn't it, Sam? Half a chance at goal. It's a fantastic connection. It's a really good save in the end.
That's a magnificent effort. Great ball in from the right-hand side. And the previous attempt from Wareham was another example, actually, of knowing exactly where he is on the pitch and having that knack and that understanding to get the strike away quickly. That one was the acrobatic on the volley. Brilliant attempt, but I really enjoyed that previous one as well. Touch, finish towards the far post, and that's what he's got.
Mahboub with a step over. It's a great strike and a good save from Marcus Bettinelli at the near post. Bashir Humphries does just enough there, doesn't he, to squeeze the angle, and it's a good save from Bettinelli.
That's a terrific save. That could have quite easily crashed in off the underside of the bar. We'll get a better idea now. It's a quick little shift. That's very difficult to defend against. He just flashes it towards the near post. That's absolutely sensational stuff, I would say, from Bettinelli. They say you shouldn't be beaten there, but as we saw for the Manchester City second goal, if it's hit with the venom, incredibly hard when it goes just over your head, so he does fantastically well to get his arms up.
Corners to Manchester City, very deep. In fact, too deep for anyone, but Shea Charles going to try and make something of it. Well defended by Chelsea again. Oh, it's a lovely touch from Mari Hutchinson.
Press the ball, Carlos. There you go.
Hall and Hutchinson interchanging the ball there, but well pressed from Manchester City. Doesn't come to anything. Marcus Bettinelli's encouraging his side forward a little bit more directly, a little bit quicker, and he finds Zach Sturge with a wonderful ball. Fully committed there, Juan Larios. It's a throw in on this left-hand side for Zach Sturge to get us underway again. Break could be on now. Manchester City with Maboud, who's been really growing into the game second half. It's a lovely reverse pass from Bob. Here's Adam. Well defended. Brilliantly defended by Alfie Gilchrist there. And again, on the edge of the box, Sam, because I can imagine it's tempting to dangle a leg out there, but does really well to stand his ground and force Manchester City into nothing, really.
That was a terrific attack, actually. The exchange from the Manchester City kind of front trio was beautiful, but Chelsea did do really well. Good resilience, just getting back in numbers more than anything to make it difficult for the final pass to be executed.
Another corner for Manchester City. Deep from Galvez, looking towards the far post, but it's well defended by Jaden Wareham, doing his work at the other box for now. Stands up really well, no foul. Marcus Bettinelli wanted one for Chelsea, but not given. Good football from Manchester City. The ball's through. Maboud could be in here. It's another brilliant save from Marcus Bettinelli.
Can't believe it. Look at the reaction, because he's had maybe 3 presentable opportunities, and Bettinelli once more equal to the task. That's probably the best of the lot, given how close in Maboud is when he lets fly. That's a lovely little bit of play. He's really impressed Charles, just as that kind of anchor at the foot of the midfield. Does things beautifully, nice and simple, lovely array of passing. Nicely weighted in there for Maboud. But once again, Bettinelli, you have to say, has really led by example.
Absolutely, definitely playing his part tonight. Foul there from Jaden Wareham. But yeah, that battle between Shea Charles and Charlie Webster's an interesting one, and both players want to get on the ball and dictate play. And I think we saw in the first half a similar battle with Chukwuemeka and Bob, and Shea Charles growing into the game, and I think it's sort of an example of how well Manchester City have played, but also how well Chelsea have played, that the starring players haven't been able to run the show, and it's been a game that has really had its ups and downs for both teams, Sam.
Yeah, Manchester City play with a kind of openness as well. There is that fluidity in attack. The opportunities do come quite frequently, but Chelsea here, still more chances in the offing.
Vale does well to give the ball out to Sturge. It's a really good ball in. Does it come off of Wareham? It is a goal kick. I think it's deflected and comes off Jaden Wareham by the looks of things, but there's definitely chances still in this game. Chelsea will feel encouraged that something will come in the final 15 minutes. They'll have one decent chance. It's good feet from Harvey Vale on the left-hand side. Just can't quite get round it, can he?
No, couldn't wrap his left foot around it. It's good approach play, and it's really positive. You know, he's only been on the pitch 6 or 7 minutes, I would say, Wareham, but already he's had 3 presentable opportunities, and as long as you're getting in there, the confidence will be flowing. He's already worked the goalkeeper, and he'll be feeling good about things and feeling that his movement's good, he's nice and bright, and that if he's presented with another opportunity or 2, he could maybe be the man to get a share of the spoils.
A third Chelsea change of the evening as Amari Hutchinson is replaced by Leo Castledine. Again, a player we've already mentioned this evening, Sam, but a player with a huge future at this football club, only a recent signing, and a player that Mark Robinson, I would imagine, knows fairly well from his Wimbledon links.
Yeah, I mean, he's capable of getting you a goal as well, so it's another forward player that's come on who could potentially pop up if a chance falls his way. That's the kind of time of the game that we're getting to now, where your substitutions, you're trying to get all your goal scorers, your attacking options onto the pitch when you're chasing the game, and Castleline definitely falls into that category, capable of getting you a goal. Hard-working player, he'll put the defenders under pressure when they're trying to play out, try and cause turnovers, and capable of finishing chances as well.
Absolutely right. 10 goals in the under-18s Premier League last season, which again for a centre midfielder is fantastic. It's a really good chance from Manchester City there. Mahboub with another one. He could quite easily be walking away with a match ball tonight. Sam, he's had a number of chances, but it's been a good performance from him. Other than the goals, he's been really impressive.
Yeah, he's sharp. Yeah, both the wide players, him and Borges. That's one wide player to the other. It's a brilliant run, actually, getting inside of Bashir Humphreys, and he should be able to control that with the right side foot. A little bit wild with his finish, as he has been throughout the evening so far. So he's had a wry smile on his face when he's walked away from the last couple of missed opportunities. But if they are to squander some points here, he'll know that he should have probably put this game out of Chelsea's reach.
Wareham driving in. It's a good effort from Jaden Wareham, but one that McNamara is equal to.
I think there's just a bit of pressure applied there on Jaden Wareham, just as he's pulling his right leg back to strike. Charlie Webster with good play, feed him. It's a fortuitous little ricochet, actually takes it into Wareham. If you see, yeah, it's just the bit of pressure comes in from Charles, breaking back, and that's pivotal there, really. Otherwise, Wareham would have got more purchase on the strike and bent it towards the far post.
It's a long, deep ball towards Harvey Vale, but the whistle goes before anything can develop. Just over 10 minutes left here at Kingsmeadow, and Manchester City at the moment lead the game by 2-1. It's been a great game of football so far, and in the first half it was Chelsea in fact that took the lead. About 10 minutes to go before Harvey Vale opened the scoring. It was Kean Brecken who equalised, and we'll get back to that in a second, because Harvey Vale looking to equalise himself, but unfortunately clear by Manchester City. And in the second half it was Oscar Bob who played a role in the first goal for Manchester City, who did give them the lead. Still plenty of football left in this one though. Manchester City now on the break. Here is Bob into Borges. Well seen across there from Chelsea. Just enough there. There will be chances, there will be gaps that need to open up, Sam, but I imagine that's natural, because Chelsea do need to try and make things happen. So there will be gaps that present themselves in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's not going hell for leather right now, though, while there's only just the 1-goal margin. You have to kind of start taking those chances. Still a long time to go in this game, but there's no point in going completely all out attack at this point, because you know you'll get picked off. But that was a good ball in, actually, from the left-hand side. I think Mahboub had just come in field inside of Bashir Humphreys. If he'd have held his position, possibly would have had a headed opportunity around the far post.
It's a brilliant header from Gilchrist. Could be a chance here. Lewis Hall, and it's snuck in! Chelsea are level. And he races to pick the ball out of the net as well, wants to get on with things. He thinks that there's another goal in this one. Chelsea now looking for the 3 points. Lewis Hall has brought Chelsea back on level terms.
Well, he's done that well, breaking forward from the middle of the pitch, getting into shooting positions since he's come on. He's very fortunate, because it's a goalkeeping mistake, which hands Chelsea the equaliser. And also, look at the position of Harvey Vale there on the left-hand side. I think the ball probably has to go to him. He's relieved, Lewis Hall and Harvey Vale, that they're not having an exchange now saying, why didn't you feed me? Why didn't you play me in? Because it's not a great strike. And McNamara won't want to see that too many times, but we don't care. Chelsea are levelling. The way they've played in the last 10-15 minutes, the majority of the chances fall into Chelsea and to Jaden Wareham in particular. You never know. Oh, here we go. That said,
straight back up the other end, and it's Adam who's just whipped it wide on that right-hand side. It's a really big chance for Manchester City. And like you said, at the other end with Harvey Vale perhaps wanting the ball slid into him, I think there's a number of Manchester City players that will be looking across, one or two eyes at Adam. I think if we see the chance again here, which we will do.
Yeah, it's a brilliant driving run. He should score. He should definitely make Bettinelli forced into a save. I mean, ultimate commentator's curse there. I was saying how well Chelsea were doing back in the game, and immediately Manchester City just cut Chelsea open. And you have to say they have missed some very, very presentable opportunities. Substitute Josh Adam, the latest, great chance to get their noses back in front. And yeah, I would say that a point at this stage, Mark Robertson would probably take it right now, because they're still looking a little bit susceptible to Manchester City's attacks.
Spoken like a true centre forward as well, Sam, when Lewis Hall was through and on goal, saying he's got square that there, he's got square that there. Again, I saw your eyes light up again a few times tonight. I think you'd be on a hat-trick.
Yeah, no, I think, you know, Harvey Vale, if it's weighted properly from Lewis Hall, you're kind of just saying to your teammate, go and hit that first time. And I think there was enough space for Lewis Hall to execute the pass. I mean,
again, it all comes from the Chelsea press as well, doesn't it? Brilliant header from Alfie Gilchrist, lovely roll onto his left-hand side from Lewis Hall, and it's not even the truest strike from Lewis Hall. He'll strike the ball probably better than that before the end of the game, but he does just about enough. Like you said, I don't think McNamara is going to want to see it back too many times, and it's a shame for him really, because he's played really well tonight, but it's a great goal. Even Harvey Vale, I think, with the turn, I think he thinks the goalkeeper makes the save first, so he might be looking to remonstrate with Hall and ask why he hasn't slid him in, but then changes to a punch of the air when when it does eventually ripple in the back of the net.
Yeah, the little body swerve was really nice. The Manchester City substitute Elaine kind of bought it, but then it opened up the space for the potential pass into Vale. I mean, listen, sometimes you back yourself in that type of area of the pitch, especially someone who's got a lovely strike that Lewis Hall does possess. So I understand why he took it on, but he's got a helping hand, that's for sure, from McNamara.
Ranking on this right-hand side, Chelsea go in search of a third, and one that will hopefully win the evening. Lewis Hall on his right foot. It's a really good whipped-in cross as well. Now, needing to get back in front of the ball, and thankfully doesn't amount to anything. Chelsea have got that, haven't they, with the overlap of Lewis Hall, especially on this right-hand side as well. I suppose a lot of Manchester City players will be expecting him to check back and try and get it onto his left, but it's a really teasing cross towards Jaden Wareham, but well defended by Manchester City. It's still building. Wareham looking for a foul there, doesn't get it, unfortunately. Larios.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with either team on the ball going forward. I think both coaches would probably have some work on the training ground, defensive work in mind for the week or two ahead. They both looked a little bit open, I would say. And that is, you know, these players have all got such high level of technical ability. They want to go the other way invariably, and there's just been quite a lot of open gaps for players to exploit. The forward players have certainly enjoyed it, I would say, tonight, rather than the defensive ones.
You look at the players that were involved for Manchester City last season. James McAtee's the big one, obviously the top scorer in PL2 last year, and you think maybe the difference maker of him, and see Taylor Harwood-Bellis, who's gone out on loan to Vincent Kompany at Burnley for Manchester City, and you know, likewise the players that Chelsea have had to call upon in previous years that aren't available for this evening. And I suppose that's the production line, isn't it? Games like tonight are where you make your name a little bit. In the final 10 minutes, we could see a new name. Crunching challenge from Charles. He's fully committed. You've been impressed with him tonight, haven't you, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, he almost strolls through the game. It looks like he doesn't really break sweat, but I think that's because his positioning is so good. I think he's a really good communicator. He looks like a good leader, and I've liked his array of passing as well. So he's not the most dynamic of players, but I think it's because his intelligence is very, very strong. His football intelligence. So yeah, I've enjoyed his performance, and I think that position is ultimately pivotal in any 4-3-3, in any Manchester City team. That deep lying midfielder, we've seen Fernandinho do it so well, Rodri more recently, and he looks like someone at this level who knows that position really well.
So you're right, new signing for Manchester City, Terrell Adjuman, who's come on for the goal scorer of Manchester City's first this evening, Kian Brecken, in the middle of the park. We've got 5 or 6 minutes remaining in the game. Could be a potential clash of heads here between Charlie Webster and the aforementioned Shea Charles, but I think both players are all right. A little bit of a sore head for both, but I think they're okay. Challenge there from Castledine, but can't quite Manchester City just about wriggle away with it, but he doesn't give it up. Does really well there, really well. Feels like there's still a big chance to come here, Sam, and hoping that it's the darker shade of blue in which it falls to.
Yes, Thomas.
Could be a break on here, though, for Manchester City now. Adam, overlapping pass. Bob's involved again. Stood up well by Rankin, though. Really good feet from Josh Adam, the substitute.
Runs it behind Pete. Runs it behind Phil. We have to press Phil. Press.
Adjiman leaving his mark on the game, and Bashir Humphries there.
Yeah, a little bit out of keeping from the game. You could hear from the reaction of the players that was a thumping challenge from the substitute. Bashir Humphries has done well for him, actually, just getting back to his feet, getting on with the game. But yeah, definite yellow card. That was equally as bad as the Dion Rankin one we saw 10-15 minutes ago. Just hasn't read the script somewhat, just coming in a little bit cold to substitute.
He's not been on the pitch long, but he's certainly left his mark on the game, and he's a very talented player that I know Manchester City fans are quite keen to see more of in the PL2 this season. Recent acquisition to the squad, so he's I think it's his first appearance tonight, in fact. So does really well there as well. Jaden Wareham just forces Larios to give the ball away.
Be in position, Tyrrell. Be in position. Hold on, Josh. Run. Stay on, Josh. Stay on, Josh. Run.
Humphries, the calmest man in South London at the moment. That's lovely play. Sturge on this left-hand side. It's a deep cross. Half a chance potentially here for Lewis Hall. Brilliantly brought down by Castledine. Bashir Humphries joining the attack there. Can't quite get out of his feet. And now there could be a counter-attack on for Manchester City. Lewis Hall absolutely know what he's doing. That's a good foul. That's a hard yellow, isn't it, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, it's not great, is it, for the flow of the game, etc., for sportsmanship? But you completely understand why Lewis Hall's done it, and without my partisan hat on, it's a great yellow card to take. Shame for Chelsea there. Bashir Humphries just needed to make his decision a little bit quicker. He got receipt of the ball in a great position. Just needed to find a teammate nice and sharply, but just over elaborate and dispossessed by a Manchester City defender.
You, Josh. Stand on that, Josh.
Humphries does really well again there. He's dealt with a lot of aerial threat tonight. All three of the centre halves, Sam. They've been made to work for it, especially aerially, and they've dealt with everything asked of them.
Yeah, you'd expect them to, though. You know, very physical back line that Chelsea have gone with tonight. It's been the movement down the side which has been a bigger problem, and probably a bit of a learning curve, something that they'll have to look at, I'm sure, on the video. Not to say that they've been poor or been ripped open, but that's problematic when you come against the movement that you have done tonight, and that's where the structural setup of the team has to be spot on. So loads to look at, I'm sure, from tonight. Loads of positives, but probably still a bit too much of an openness about Chelsea. The concession of another 2 goals off the back of a couple of heavy defeats. So, yeah, definitely an area to improve in, but I'm sure a point off the champions, albeit at home, definitely not to be sniffed at if this is how it remains.
Absolutely right. I think coming into it, as we keep saying, these two will be the pace setters in the PL2 for quite a lot of it. Certainly a standard and a bar will be set by these two. A lot of the names that you're seeing on show tonight, if they're new to you, or if it's the first time watching Chelsea in PL2 action, a lot of these names will be certainly involved in the first team picture at some point this season, and I'm sure there'll be 1 or 2 players after tonight's display that will be asking the question sooner rather than later as well. I think it's been some very impressive pictures, but like you said, these are 2 very accomplished sides at this level, 2 teams that are very used to winning games of football and very used to winning trophies and championships come the end of the season. So I think if you ask them nicely, if you ask them quietly in a little corner in an hour and a half's time, if they're happy with a point, I think probably both managers would quietly nod and then say no. Could be a chance here though. Castledine. inside onto his left foot. Oh! Got a little bit excited there. I think maybe, you know, there, Sam. Maybe that's my Chelsea fans hat a little bit too heavily on, but Oscar Bob will deal with that in a second. Bob wriggling away. He's such a great left foot. Does really well, though. Well defended by Chelsea. And maybe there is time for one more. Harvey Vale. Let's have a little look at that, because
I thought initially he did brilliantly, just to be patient, hold up the play. No, I don't think there's enough of a touch. Yeah, it looked innocuous, didn't it? If there had been a collision there, it still would have been soft, and the referee would have had a real decision to make, but I don't think ultimately there was enough contact. And it's such a shame, because I thought it was a great decision for Castledine just to put the brakes on, really, come in field, survey his options. Invariably at this stage of the game, people are too frantic, and I always think just calm down. There's, you know, it only takes a second to create something, to score a goal. But initially it was good play from Castledine, but just overdid it a fraction and the chance was gone.
Maybe time left in this. Calm heads on the touchline. Just a few more instructions from Mark Robinson there to his captain of Bashir Humphreys for the last few. I think both managers, like we've already mentioned there, Sam, probably quietly happy with the point. It's been really well contested. They'll have learned quite a lot from the game, and some impressive performances for both sides.
And there's been so many chances. It could have been anything, really. I think Ryan Barry Murphy, from Manchester City perspective, will feel they should have scored more goals because of the quality of their chances. And yeah, I think I've already touched on, you know, Mark Robinson probably frustrated at the amount of opportunities they're letting on their goal, the amount of goals they're conceding. That said, you know, loads to like about the attacking play tonight. More minutes into the likes of Chukwuemeka, Hutchinson, players that are still finding their feet at the club, really. They'll be better for the experience tonight, and ultimately probably the best side in the PL2, and they've managed to get a point off them.
Absolutely right. It finishes here at Kingsmeadow, 2 apiece. Chelsea and Manchester City share the points. It was Harvey Vale who gave Chelsea a first half lead before Kean Brecken equalised on the stroke of half-time. In the second half, it was very much as you were. Both teams going for it, having a real go, and Oscar Bob, sort of star in Manchester City's side, giving Manchester City a 2-1 lead before Lewis Hall snuck one underneath Josh McNamara for 2 apiece. A really good game of football, Sam. A lot to learn, a lot of players to like, and certainly, like we've already mentioned, these two teams will be right up there at the end of the season, and you can see why tonight.
Yeah, one of the sternest tests you're going to get. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out that they're going to be electric, very comfortable on the ball. Manchester City, they're going to ask you a lot of questions defensively, and that was definitely the case tonight. And they rode their luck. Chelsea, they were reliant on an experienced goalkeeper to make a few massive saves, but going forward, I thought caused them lots of problems. That contrast between the technical, diminutive players of Manchester City and a bit more power in the Chelsea forward line tonight, and I thought that was very evident, and I thought that caused Manchester City problems. So a good point. You can see from Mark Robinson's reaction there, he'll know his players are asked a lot of questions by Manchester City's movement, and they've passed that test not bad at all.
Absolutely right, especially because, you know, the last couple of outings we've seen Chelsea concede a number of goals that on a different night Marcus Bettinelli would have had quite a night, because I think all in all Bashir Humphreys, Alfie Gilchrist and Xavier Mumbayamba played really well at the back.
Yeah, and it's been quite an unforgiving start to the season, really. Fixtures-wise, Arsenal away is always going to be a tough game. Fulham in a derby, they've got some very good players at this level, and obviously tonight. So tough start to the season, but the confidence will be growing, I'm sure, from that performance, getting a point, getting a couple of goals and getting minutes. I think the important thing, players coming through without picking up injuries, but also building that fitness, which doesn't invariably come until you play 5 or 6 90 minutes. So Chukwuemeka, Hutchinson, Burstow, kind of the new guys really that are just bedding into this team, they'll be better for the experience of tonight, definitely.
Absolutely right. Still plenty to come this weekend. Obviously, a nice start to the weekend, in fact, with Chelsea and Peel to action tonight on the 5th stand, and we've got lots more on the way for you, of course. Tomorrow afternoon, Matchday Live is back. Chelsea, first team Thomas Tuchel's side, up against Leicester City. 2:15, you can join us for that one. And then on Sunday, says friendly, it's not friendly, it can never be a friendly, can it? Chelsea versus Tottenham Hotspur, Emma Hayes' side, back from their US tour. 1:50, you can join us for that one on Sunday. Sam, you'll be here for that one on Sunday, won't you, of course? And then obviously Leicester City tomorrow. It's a good advert for football for Chelsea in general this weekend. Yeah,
brilliant weekend. Starting tonight, always good when you get a Friday night game, and yeah, we're going to have the women's team back very, very soon as well in competitive action, but looking forward to seeing them Sunday, and hopefully points on the board for the first team tomorrow as well. I'm sure that they'll put on a display at the bridge. Absolutely right. Sam, thank you for your company this evening. Thank you very much for watching and viewing Chelsea's 2-2 draw this evening with Manchester City at Kingsmeadow. Points shared, really good game of football. Lewis Hall and Harvey Vale on the score sheet for Chelsea. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.